everybody, and welcome to the New Earth Co-Creators podcast. And welcome to my beautiful co-hosts, Isabel Hunt and Peter Paul Parker, the UK Spider-Man. Yay! Very happy to see you guys here. We're all very happy to be here. And to those who have been listening, or if you've tuned into other of our podcasts, we're sort of getting a little more focused, a little more fine-tuned, a little more service-oriented, I think, to community. And might even be going through a name change. So be prepared. We're not leaving you, but we may be transforming, which is what we're all about anyway. But in the meantime, yes, elevating, rising up. Together we rise, right? But in the meantime, we wanted to sort of focus a little bit on some of our own expertise and life experiences and paths and so forth, which are very synergistic with one another. And I think today we're putting Mr. Peter Parker in the hot seat. And
it's definitely hot over here at the moment. We're in the middle of a heat wave.
There you go. You're in a heat wave over there, and we're having like
a cold something dip.
Cold down all of a sudden. It's like 60 degrees and
I know.
In the morning. What?
We had some good rain yesterday, so we're not actually complaining after 4 weeks of nothing and hot.
Yes, but so what we wanted to talk about was something that you are a master in, which is Ki Gong. Ki Gong, some people pronounce it, but you would know better than all of us. So would love to pass the baton to you, sir. And I know Isabel's got questions and, so what is Ki Gong?
Yeah, just jump in when you got a question. Ki Gong, Ki means energy, or Qi is the Chinese way. Gong means utilizing well, or if you look at it in a bit deeper way, it means mastering. So it's actually just mastering your energy. So really, when you think about energy only gets transferred, it never gets destroyed. So therefore, your body is an enormous recycling pit of energy. Ki Gong is trying to get rid of all the old energy and bringing in new energy to replace that. And there's many, many different modalities to that. And when I was learning it through my masters, I used to ask them, well, what is this? What is this? What is this? And I really kind of figured it out for myself without taking anything away from any heritage from their Ki Gong practices, that it is just about you and your mastering of your energy, basically. So Ki Gong, I feel, came down, the Buddhists left India with, the Buddhist people, the people who came up with Buddhism, the Buddha came down from India down into Southeast Asia. Buddhism started to come down into that area of the world. And they started to influence that kind of area of the world with the 8 paths of yoga. But I feel that it was like a masculine to a feminine change, because you've got the very ancient Vedic scripts of India, which are very masculine. You can see from their temples, very masculine, very architectural. Came over to the Southeast Asia, where you look at the Tao philosophy and the Tao gardens. It's more feminine. You don't know where nature ends and the garden begins. It's more of a beautiful, rounded philosophy. So I feel that Ki Gong was really about the people starting to master their energy. So you've got different practices like Sundo, which is another thing that I trained under, which is really Korean. And it's about you, again, mastering your energy. Sundo means mountain people. So in the Southeast, a lot of these great masters all went off to the mountains. It's a bit like today, because they couldn't look at the society and go, I don't want to live here anymore. I'm going to go up to the mountains and find out what this is all about. So that's what the Sundo people did. And Lao Tse, who wrote the Tao Te Ching, did the same thing as well. Apparently, he went up to the mountains to write the Tao Te Ching. So Ki Gong really starts in Southeast Asia. That's where the beginnings of it. You've got Qi Gong, which is the Chinese way, which is a QI or CHI. And Ki Gong, which is what I teach, is Ki Gong KI, which is the Korean way. So you got Chun Ji In. So Chun Ji In, which is heaven, earth, and humanity, which are the 3 danjons. But Ji is like the Ki is the energy that brings all those 3 together. So in our practice, you're bringing down the heavenly energy into your upper danjon. You're bringing the lower energy in from the earth into, which isn't lower energy, it's just energy from the earth, which is beneath us, into your lower danjon, and it's meeting in the middle, which is your in, which is humanity. So Ki Gong, really, to break it all down, it comes into balancing your whole system as a human being. So the idea of it is that you come away from all the preconceptions, all the conditioning, and all the things that have influenced you in your life, which begins from your very birth all the way to where you are now, there's no doubt that all of us are still reacting from the conditioning that we've had from. Qigong is starting to pull your brain and your body away from that by using your energy. So you're starting to see life in a whole different way. And I wouldn't be saying that if I didn't know it, because I've done the process myself of actually looking back at my previous self and gone, I would never believe you'd be saying this today, Peter, because it's completely changed to where I was. And what I loved about all the masters, even though I was going through enormous anger when I was training, was all of them had a wonderful sense of humor. All of them had a sense of peace about them. All of them were not worried about anything whatsoever. And I just thought, I want some of that. I think that looks brilliant. So I started to work towards that. And I'm not saying it's easy at all, but I decided to become a Dharma master after I'd gone into elderly community centers and started teaching them to the practice of Ki Gong. And there was, like I explained a bit before the show, there was a bit of a rejection towards the name. Well, I worked past that rejection, only 6 people turning up to the classes every week. And then I kept going. I could see a tangible change in their health and well-being. And then it went to 6 to 8 to 12 to 14 and up to 30. And the room was packed every week. And I just went, this is incredible, because there was a tangible change in them. There was a sense of community in them. They were dressing smarter and better. I learned a lot about our medical system and how terrible that's been treating them. And then they started to come over to the more holistic approach to it. And so much so, there was a woman the other day I was speaking with, who's 84 years of age, bless her. She's had damage from COVID in her lungs. And her cardiologist said the other day, your lungs have drastically improved over the last few months. And over the last few months, she's been really doing the breathing teaching that I've been doing, which comes with Qigong. So Qigong is like everything. You can put anything into it. So this could be construed as yoga, or if it's like a talk, it could be construed as Qigong, because I'm looking at my energy and how do I give it to you in the best possible way that I can. So to me, rather than dressing up in a little suit and doing all of this stuff, it's more how you live your life, which is why they call it a master, but really it's master in training. I'm a Dharma master, but nobody really masters this humanity apart from the top people, and you're a master in training, so you're just mastering your energy. So that's me trying to get it done as quickly as possible. I think was that clear?
That was very clear. I would say so.
Good.
It was. I find it really fascinating that one of the things that you shared was like, you were studying this, but you were really angry when you were kind of going through this.
Yeah.
Is that one of the reasons why you started to do this, to try to find a way to deal with your anger? Because I don't hear a lot of people talk about going into Qigong or Tai Chi or something of that nature to handle or manage their anger. I don't know that people put those things together. No,
they don't. And it wasn't really why I went into it. Why I went into it was, I think, mainly stress and anxiety. Because I was just coming out of the rock world. I've been a professional musician for 10 years. I was looking for something to do. I went, we were outside a stall in the Mind, Body, Spirit show in Earls Court in London. We went around and we were outside a stall, and I was talking to one of the Korean masters then. And I was going on about the banking system. I was going on about the corporations. I was going on about how corrupt the music business was, anger, bitterness. And she went, very interesting, Peter. I think you should come to class. She comes up really calmly. Okay, all right. Well, yeah, we'll give it a go. So I was with my wife, and we spoke to them, and we ended up going down to the class. And I realised very quickly my stress and anxiety was dissipating very quickly. And we had Tao lectures during my training, and I kept putting my hand up all the time. Whenever it came about money, I kept putting my hand up and say, well, the banking system's all corrupted, fiat currency and all this. And they just look at me and go, very interesting, Peter. And they realized that I had to change my perception of money to make it look like it was an energy transfer rather than somebody sort of, well, they are still siphoning it off the top, but we can use money as spiritual beings. And one of the issues I had with my anger was like, these people have just ruined the whole concept of money, and they haven't ruined it, but they've given us the perception that they have. And I think that's really important inside of me to ease that anger. And the biggest time when my anger was eased was when I went into a cave in Korea in 2016, when I went over with the British Ki Gong team, and we won the competition. Was going into a cave where we were meditating through childhood traumas. And I went through all these different times going, wow, that's like almost like a different person. And I hit this one where my brothers, my two eldest brothers, had taken my father's estate and set themselves up with houses and two careers. One of them a chiropractor, one of them an airline pilot. And I just sat there and put my hand on my heart. It's all gone. It was like 30 odd years ago, whatever it was, 25 odd years ago. Put my hand on my heart and I forgave them, thinking, wow, they must have been in a terrible spot there. And then I walked out, and my little master at the time, little Hope, she's a tiny little thing, she went, Peter, what's happened to you? What's going on there? And I said, I explained the situation, that I'd forgave them for what they'd done to me. And she said, that's just taken 20 years off of your face. So I realize now, all of us have got this energy stuck in us. Right. No matter what it happens, it could be a traumatic time when your mother or father turned around and said to you, don't do that, that is so stupid. That could be a trigger that holds into your body that makes you feel overwhelmed or unworthy or just not worth anything. And I've realized that I've gone through so many of those, but luckily in the background, I've always had people and friends always in the background. No, Peter, you're really worth it. You got to keep working on it. You got to keep working at it. Keep working at it. So I've always had that guide in the background saying, but otherwise, because what I went through with my parents dying when I was very young and going to school with paedophiles and things like that, I was almost bursting a blood vessel in my head. I was so angry with this world and how disgusting I found it. And where's the love? Where's the compassion? Where's the kindness? I never found it until I realized it's me who gives it out. It's not me trying to find it. I've got to give it out. And when I give it out, goodness me, do I get it back? Yeah, I do, in tenfold. But I was looking at the world from a different perspective. I was looking at the world trying to find the solutions outside of me. And I realized it was all inside of me. And then what I put out was actually what I was getting back. So I was putting out loads of anger. What was I getting back? Loads of anger back. Sitting in pubs in England, which was what we were all doing when we were younger, drinking ourselves stupid and just speaking as loudly as we can at each other, thinking we're doing something good when actually it's just a complete waste of energy. Whereas you go now, and I'll do a workshop or a session in a company or whatever, and people are all hugging each other at the end of it, and I'm going, that's me. That's my true self. That's where I want to be. I want to see people loving and being harmonious with each other. And what's made me realize what Ki Gong can do, it brings that forward to the forefront after a workshop where you go, wow, I don't even need to be part of the hugging and all the emotional stuff. I can just sit and watch it and go, there you go. That's what it is to be a human being. And to me, that's what a decent practice of Ki Gong will bring to you, is a decent sense of self and more connection with what I call your true self or your authentic you.
Right. Connecting to your complete self, and then your spiritual nature. You're just, it's a whole other ball game, because all of the crap that seems to be there, that's out there in the world, that you're sort of trying to navigate through, that all just falls away. You see the illusions for what they are, because you're suddenly in tune in your body. And that's where I think it's so valuable, because honestly, Peter, I spend a lot of my energy practice when I'm doing body work with people. 90% of it's getting them in their body.
Yes,
That's it. 90% of it is getting them in their body, and then we can start to work on other things. But that, they're out here in the ethers somewhere, just living in their brains and living out in the ethers where, they can't manifest anything. They can't undo or heal, or because they're not in their body to do so. And what I find fascinating is people who've made like a lifelong kind of career, unknowingly, of course, but of living sort of outside of themselves. Those people have a tendency, to be in a lot of physical pain, sometimes carrying a lot of weight, having huge health challenges because the body itself is trying to get them into it, get into me. Like, so it's like every part of us, I've always said this, and Isabel, you may have some thoughts on this too, that every part of the body speaks, but it doesn't all speak English, right?
Yes.
So, it speaks pain, it speaks illness, it speaks those things too, to try to get you in your body where you can actually manifest and heal and evolve.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people know Louise Hayes, right? Who wrote the book. What was it? What is it called?
Louise Hayes, You Can Heal Your Life.
Heal Your Body. She has this little cute little, I don't know, people who have it.
Heal Your Body.
It's like this little guide pretty much. And I recently in particular, I have had so many people or so much, people posting about that they have cancer, especially women with breast cancer. And I'm like, man, what is it about? Like, why is it? I mean, sure, we all know for the most part, if you have, in regard to the last 3 years, we're not going to get into that, which triggers cancer cells. But in general, especially breast cancer is about nurturing. It's not, it's that the feminine, because it's for the most part, very unique illness to women, right? There are men who have breast cancer as well, but it's very small percentage. So it's really about the nurturing, the rejuvenation. Who cares about me? That's usually the question, right? And that's that being out of alignment, not channeling the chi, right? The life force. You're pretty much drained of the life force because it's close, it's your heart chakra. You're drained. You drained yourself by taking care of everyone else or having this thought that nobody cares about you, nobody loves you because you're the one who has to do all of it outward. And that's when they usually show up. And then doctors say, sorry, but you have breast cancer. And there's often a reason, just like you said, like your body speaks. And that's and I think your story, Peter, will resonate with a lot of young people in particular, because with everything going on, all those discussion points that are happening right now that are meant to divide are extremely overwhelming and create a lot of anger and upset, especially in the younger generations, who then act out in the way of, you don't see me. You are judging me. You don't recognize me. I am this pronoun and I am that pronoun and I'm a tree. I didn't know I was a tree. Everyone is trying to be different from the different just so that they have a spot to be seen, right? And that again is stepping away from our own inner life force, where we don't even have to worry about any of that. Where we don't feel like we have to worry about what other people think about us.
I see this all the time where now in the age I do want to work towards going towards the young with this as well, but I've gone into schools, has been remarkable, the changes in that. But with the elderly, I'm just going to back up what both of you said, and they come in and they're like this, and you can't get them to even open their hands properly. And you see them after about 3 or 4 weeks, you see the ones who can actually turn it around and come back into themselves. They start to, the shoulders drop, the hands start to become more flexible. They're connecting to the tips of the hands, which is what we don't do. And the other ones I see, they fade off and usually fade off and die, because it's true. We are so disconnected, and that feminine energy inside of us has been drummed out of us from a very early age. And I find that, and that's what I found really appalling, because I didn't know, I didn't use this term in the past, but I was searching for that divine feminine energy inside of me because I lost my mother so early. Well, what is it? Doing all these crazy things that I was doing, and then realizing actually it's in all of us. It's not just me looking for that. And that was the start of the healing for me, was finding that nurturing energy. Actually, if you need to sleep, go and have a sleep. What's the matter with you? Because I say, with the schooling I went to, is like, no, you're being lazy, you're being lethargic, you can't do this, you can't do that. Thou shalt not, the old finger coming out at you.
Yeah.
And that was destroying for me, because you think, okay, I'm being lazy, I've got to get up and do it. And then I'd work things until I'm exhausted, and then do the next day the same thing. Well, actually, it's actually looking after your energy. So if I need to rest, I'll rest. And when I do my work, people go, wow, you did that quickly. I go, not really. I was like sleeping yesterday, thinking about it. And then bang, 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 bang. The mechanics get done really quickly. But it's the rest and making sure that you're in your zone before you do anything. And we haven't been trained to do that. And I find that criminal that human beings have been taken away so far from their natural habitat. I was watching a documentary on isolation the other day, and I saw this Jamaican village in the middle of nowhere with these human beings working. No one had the big house, no one had the small house, no one was hungry, no one was upset, no one was lonely, no one was isolated. And the most wonderful thing about it was they all came to a smile so easily. All of them, every single one of them. They were asked and interviewed. They just, yeah. And I thought, there's human beings. I'm not saying we have to go that far, but it was the village was comfortable. All their houses were comfortable. The community hall was a beautiful place to hang out, drums and everything. So
they're living in cooperation, right? There are little communities all over the planet that are not considered first world, that may not have all of the perks and all of the glitz and all of that goes along with the first world labels, but where they have cooperation, where which I think they're in their bodies because they're connected. They're connected to the earth. They're connected to each other. They see value. They know they're valuable, and in a lot of ways, in those little communities as well. I mean, the community raises the children. It's a full-on experience. It's a cooperative experience, and I think that's what you're also saying in Ki Gong when you are done with the class and people hug one another and do all of that. It's because they feel that harmony and that connection. We are an interdependent species. We need each other. We're designed that way. But what's happened is we've become culturally codependent.
Yeah.
Codependent. I don't heal myself. I expect you to treat me like I'm a whole person, but I'm not going to make myself whole. You need to see me as whole. And that's the only thing that lets me feel whole. And then my part of the agreement is I need to see you as whole because that's what makes you feel whole. But for goodness sakes, there's going to be a day when I'm just not going to feel that way. And as soon as I stop seeing you as whole, you're going to turn on me and tell me that I'm not whole, and boom, there we go. And then we're going to cry and we're going to get back together and go, oh, I'm so sorry. Really, you are a whole person. And it all starts all over again, as opposed to just recognizing, you know what? We've all come from somewhere. In fact, I have a song, it's called Letting Go. And it's one of the lines is everybody comes from somewhere and grows up believing everything that they're told, because we do, right? We also grow up doing everything that we're told. Everybody comes from somewhere. And it's like, it is time. It's time to break out of that mold, but we have to be okay with recognizing it. And that's where I think as humanity, there's a flailing, not a failing, but a flailing about, because we're so terrified to be seen as wrong or weak or damaged when we're none of those things. But because we've had the experiences we've had and we're out of our body and we're looking out here in the world going, something needs to make me feel better, as opposed to it's time for me to really understand how I'm feeling, why I'm feeling, and most importantly, what I can do about it, because we can do something about it, right? How I can evolve and shift, right? Instead, we're out here and we lose that connection. We lose that connection. And then we're bombarded now by all of this very highly sophisticated, strategic, and I'll use the word intelligence, but not necessarily in the way that one might think, is artificial intelligence and all that, that are targeting our vulnerabilities now and helping us to completely stay detached from ourselves. Because isn't it always about that next thing? Isn't it always about that next training? Isn't it always about that next expert? That
who is right and who is wrong and who is better, right? And who has more success. Actually, I want to use the last 5 minutes. Peter, if anyone, let's say someone comes and says, man, that sounds really interesting. I can really relate to your story. I need that. But now they're not living next to you, or they may not have access right in their little city to do Qi Gong. Is there any way or anything simple that they can start out with, even if they're just, sitting at work and just like, oh my God, I need something to bring my life force back into balance right in this moment? Is there something that you can suggest?
Yes, it's really simple. It sounds really trite, but you've got to think about your nervous system is an intrinsic part of your whole system, your brain, your body, your heart, everything's intrinsically connected. Your vagus nerve is connected from your brain down to your gut. So if your gut is not happy, the brain's going to know about it. So the brain becomes unhappy, which has an intrinsic connection with your heart, says that's unhappy. So you need to start to connect the body all in one go. And I would say, it sounds trite, but I would say just learn to breathe deeply. Because if you really focus on your breathing, and with a movement as well, just a movement like a wave, move your hands, but you soften your hands. So when you shake your hands out for, say, 20 seconds, just shake your hand out now for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Just shake it out as hard as you can. And then you breathe in and you bring your hands up. Feel the difference in one hand to the other hand. And you can feel there's energy now going through your body. Your energy is starting to go through your body.
I can feel the tingling in my hands.
Yeah, good. Tingling. And then when you get a bit more advanced, you start to feel the tingling connecting with each other. And you start to get what we call Ki Gong meditation, which is an energy meditation. And you can start to feel your chakra system. I can feel my heart now there. And you start to really become part of your body. But it's breathing is the most important thing. And it's so simple, but it's so overlooked. And even now, children of 7 years of age are breathing too shallow. Because when we breathe, we push into our internal organs, which massages them and gives them energy. So that they're becoming stale. So that energy is coming up to the brain, which is going to make the brain stale. So the brain's not working properly. All of this is so important. The body is holistic, like Deborah was so rightly saying. It's holistic. It's a whole entity. And we've got to think of it like a whole entity. So if breathing's out, everything else will come out. That's the first thing. I like the expression came from, where did it come from? The template. Your breath is your gateway to your consciousness. It's your gateway to the higher level. So when you get the body right, that's so correct. When you get the body right with your breathing, your higher consciousness will come flooding through. And that's what it is. So you need to be in that rest, digest, relaxed mode. So the quickest way of doing that is breathing. Just learn to breathe deeply. I know it sounds really simple. Well, that didn't do anything. You got to do it for extended points of time so that you're starting to relax. Yeah, I know it's hard because I remember the reason I like the Ki Gong sessions is because we used to work the body and then go into deep breathing. And then I went, wow, now I can do it. Whereas before my mind was all over the place.
It opens up your body, right? When you start really breathing into it.
And there's also one quick thing on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. UK time, right? And 12 noon Central.
6 p.m. 6 p.m.
Is it 6 p.m. right now? Okay, 6 p.m. UK time. And noon Central. There's like 15-20 minutes we do on the Conscious Music for the People Facebook page. There's actually a live guided where some of the Qigong is practiced and guided. So we try to do it in about a 20-minute period of time. So that's happening every week too. So people can definitely tune in.
Maybe we can post the link in the comment section, in the description section.
So we're doing more breathing exercises there because I really think that people overlook it. And I think I did.
Oh yeah.
Put my hand up. Like, no, breathing. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. And you think, okay. And then when you do it, you go, wow, I see what they're saying now, but it takes takes time, like, because we've been so detached from our bodies, it takes time to reintegrate it. So trauma will detach the mind and the body, and it takes time to reintegrate it, and breathing is part of that process with everything else. So,
and especially when you consider that the detachment, and we're just under 2 minutes, guys, the detachment happens often at 2 and 3 and 7 years of age. Like, that's how profound this is, and how profound Ki Gong can be in reconnecting and realigning. So how do we want people to get in touch with us?
Well, first of all, our website, newearthcc.org, check it out and join us in the specific groups that are also mentioned and linked on the website. And then, Peter, you have the Conscious Muse Collective.com. Yes.
Got a gig coming up in August. People are already signing up for it. So get your tickets now. And yeah.
And also June 24th, we're doing a workshop too. So check that out on the Facebook page. And, you know, as always, guys, it's such a pleasure to be here. And also Peter, you've also got a website that they can go to too, right? For
peterpaulparker.co.uk, and you get Ki Gong, and it's really, I've kept it really low prices. So you can do it from anywhere over the world, and it's really low prices. So I'm not, it's more about you getting healed than me becoming a billionaire. That's what it's all about.
Awesome. That works.
The community, the collaboration.
Yes, community, unity, where we all have more than what we need anyway.
All right, guys.
Much love, many blessings, everybody.
Together we rise. Have a great day. Great week.
Together we rise. Yes. Peace.
Peace.